Right, it is time for the heal support tier list, and this one will include both quickness and alacrity supports. I enjoy playing as a support spec not because of the healing, but because of your knowledge of the fight and how you can anticipate big attacks and use your defensive boons to mitigate it. It is also a lot more enjoyable when other people know the mechanics too. But enough babbling, let's get to the tier list. Same as before, actually let's start from the warrior this time, as LA is always first. So for warrior we have, what do we have? We have Heal Alak Bladesworn, which is not something that you see every day, and looking at our tier list, I think we need a new tier called Enthusiast or maybe Hobby. I think the Enthusiast is better and we can put it just above Unusable since it works in some situations. So Bladesworn should be in the Enthusiast category. Next we have Heal Alak Spectre, which is something that I have tried this week actually, in both open world meta events and strikes. And all I can say is that it is an interesting build. The good part is that wells heal you now, so you can do some healing with that, and when you need burst healing you have to use your weapon on an ally, which is the bad part, because you have to constantly look at the squad or group UI and then click them. It feels like an old MMO where the healer is only standing back and healing others. I think if the healing part would be switchable, so it grants the boons or barrier and healing near the target, and when you want to DPS you switch the effects, would be a lot better. And thinking about it, they could use the implementation of the Vindicator mechanic with the two legends in one. But for now this one will fit in the decent tier as it is usable but with some gymnastics. Moving on to Revenant, and for this one we have the most varied class with all three specs having a healing variant. So let's start with the Heal Quickness Herald. This one is an easy best tier with lots of boons and easy application. I think it needed a bit more burst healing since you need to switch legends, but still this doesn't affect its rating. Then we have Heal Alak Renegade, and the same thing applies as you can do on Herald. The only downside is that you get a big hit in energy when using orders from the above, but I still think this fits in the best tier. And finally Heal Vindicator. The failed experiment which died after Alacrity was moved from Centaur, but even then the healing build was barely usable and it would fit in the Enthusiast build. Now it's just unusable. Then we have Druid, which is actually a lot more usable now with the Heal Alak version. You also have Aegis and Stability. Actually lots of stability can be applied compared to all other classes so far. And if you have 2 boon DPS for Alak and Quickness, you can use the pure heal build for even more healing if needed. Now I'm not sure where to put Druid because of the 2 builds. I think for now the good tier should work. Next we have Scourge with 2 builds actually, one with the Alacrity included and one with the healing only, which is still usable and you can actually use it as a DPS res Scourge if healing is not needed. But I think after the update on the 18th, Scourge feels a lot better to heal on. The only downside is that you have one skill for sharing stability, and it is on Trail of Anguish. But I think you need to pass through allies for it to proc. Other than that, it is a solid healing spec with easy boon application and lots of barriers, so I think we can put it in the best tier. I was about to skip Mesmer, then remembered there used to be a healing chrono variant of this, and some people tried to revive it, but I do not think this will even work as an enthusiast build. But because it was possible and it used to be a viable build in the past, I will put it in the table, but it will be in the unusable tier. Moving on to Guardian with Heal Quickness Firebrand, which is still one of the best choices for heal support in all content, even after the rework to mantras and tomes. The heal output is on the lower side, but I think it is balanced with the amount of boons it provides, so this will be in the best tier. Oh, and we also have Willbender, which if you didn't know it can heal, so it will be a Heal Alak Willbender. I saw this once in a strike and it was actually decent, but this was before the rework. Now I think this is an enthusiast build, as it still works in some scenarios. Next we have Engineer with 2 builds. Let's start with Heal Quickness Scrapper, which was destroyed to the point it is no longer viable in my opinion, not even as an enthusiast build, so straight to unusable tier. And the second build is Heal Alak Mechanist, which used to be up there with the Firebrand until the Fire Nation Oh, sorry, wrong script. Until the best balance patch. I still think it is a good healing spec, but if you mess up with the mech being away from you, it can have big consequences, so this will be in the good tier for me. And the last spec we will judge today will be Heal Alac Tempest, which actually feels very good to play now. The overloads are not as bad to provide alacrity, and you have Aegis and stability on demand. The bad part is that it's just one stack of stability with a long cooldown. If they would just buff it to give 2 stacks or maybe add stability on the Earth Elite pet, it would be much better. Nevertheless, this is still a best tier spec. If it had all those things mentioned earlier, it would be best plus in my list. Oh wait, we also have Heal Quickness Catalyst, which is something very rarely used, and with the change to quickness, even less than that now. I think this build was destroyed though, so unusable tier. And those are all the healing support specs we have in the game. I think this one is pretty balanced. Maybe Scourge would be in its own tier if it had more healing and not just barrier application. But really you can't complain now. What do you think about this list? Do you agree with it? Would you change anything? Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see more content like this, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, please click the like and subscribe buttons.